Hey guys, this is Camryn Conner with Tiger Rag Audibles podcast. Welcome to episode 27. Today I'll be having some exciting interviews coming in with our very own Todd Horne, the editor of Tiger Rag, and Jeff Palermo, the news and sports director for Louisiana Radio Network. They'll be sitting down with LSU baseball head coach Jay Johnson, and after that we'll bring Todd and Jeff back with Matt McMahon, the LSU men's basketball head coach. This is a segment that I like to call CC Starting 5, where I go over 5 pieces of news that are going around LSU. First up, we're going to be talking about the injury report from Coach Brian Kelly. After Tuesday's practice, Coach Kelly said that defensive tackle Mekhi Wingo and cornerback Zy Alexander will both be missing some time dealing with lower body injuries. They're still evaluating Zy, stating that they will have a better indication over the next couple of weeks of what's to come. Wingo, who's a team captain and returning third-team All-American selection, missed last Saturday's 62-0 win over Army with an injury. He's 8th on the team with 30 tackles, including 3 tackles for losses, totaling in 13 yards in losses. Alexander, who's a transfer from southeastern Louisiana, has risen up to LSU's top cornerback this season and ranks 4th on the team in tackles with 44 stops. Alexander has also recorded 2 interceptions for 28 yards and returns with a team-high 7-pass breakup. Kelly also said that transfer portal signee cornerbacks Denver Harris of Texas A&M and Deuce Chestnut of Syracuse remained on scholarship and in school but were inactive and have not practiced with the team. Emory Jones, however, will be back at practice and should be ready to go for Alabama on November 4th. With LSU's cornerback situation being bare, it's good news to hear that LSU convinced New Orleans native Bernard Causey to reconsider commitment in choosing the Tigers. A day after backing off a 4-month-old commitment to Ole Miss, 3-star cornerback Bernard Causey decided to come home. Causey will be the Tigers' 25th member in their class of 24. LSU's current class ranks number 11 nationally by On3 Sports and number 12 by 247 Sports. Causey, who's the 101 overall prospect and 23rd cornerback by On3, becomes the 3rd in-state prospect to join LSU's cornerback group. In other sports news, LSU's women's golf wraps up their fall season. The Tigers were playing without 2 of its normal starters this fall, Ian Donegan and Ingrid Lindblad, who are both participating for their respective countries in the World Amateur Team Championships in Abu Dhabi. The women's golf season came to a close Wednesday with a 5th-place finish in the alley at the Old Waverly Golf Club in West Point, Mississippi. LSU posted a 12-over round of 300 to finish at 20 over par, 884. To give perspective, Florida won the event with a 3-under, 285 on Wednesday to finish at 1 under par, 863. Host Mississippi State was second at 10 over, 874. The spring season will begin on Sunday, February 4th at the Puerto Rico Classic in Rio Grande, Puerto Rico. So rest up, ladies. Spring season is coming. The LSU soccer team advances to the SEC tournament after a scoreless draw with Texas A&M this past Thursday. With a score that was 0-0 at halftime, LSU came into the game stronger after the break. The Tigers controlled the game in the second half, applying most of the pressure. However, this did still end up in a 0-0 draw against A&M in their regular season finale on Thursday night inside the LSU Soccer Stadium. This earned the Tigers a point in the standings and was good enough to send the Tigers into the 2023 SEC Soccer Tournament in Pensacola, Florida. The Tigers will start the tournament competition on Sunday, October 29th at 1 p.m. Central against the Kentucky Wildcats. In the world of basketball, SEC coaches voted LSU the favorite to win league title and named 4 players to the preseason team. The Southeastern Conference coaches selected the defending NCAA champion LSU to win its 2023-24 regular season title in a vote on Tuesday. The league's coaches also selected senior forward Angel Reese, the SEC Player of the Year, and graduate guard Haley Van Lythe was chosen to the first team. Sophomore guard Flau'jae Johnson and junior forward Anisha Mora were both picked on the All-SEC second team. Women's basketball season will be opening up on November 6th against the Colorado Buffaloes. The LSU men's basketball team will be holding an exhibition on October 30th against the Louisiana Christian University at 7 p.m. Central. If you're interested in watching the LSU men's basketball team open up for the start of a great season, entrance into the PMAC will be free. And lastly, the LSU baseball team is set for 3 more intra-squad scrimmages this weekend. Friday's game, the 27th, is set for 5 p.m. Central, while Saturdays will be on October 28th at 1:30 p.m. and Sunday on the 29th at 11 a.m. Unlike prior fall scrimmages, Friday's exposition will not be open to the general public. Rather, access will be restricted to the members of the LSU Baseball Coaches Committee Booster Club. The scrimmages on Saturday and Sunday will be open to all fans, where parking and entrance will be free. The Tigers' 2024 season will not officially be open until February 16th of next year. I would like to thank the sponsor, Pawpaw's Campers and Cars. That's pawpawsrvs.com, 1-800-728-CAMP, 1-800-728-2267. After this commercial break, you'll be hearing from Todd Horne and Jeff Palermo while they sit down with LSU baseball head coach Jay Johnson.
Hey neighbors, we're not that far from where you are. Make that short drive to Pawpaw's Campers in Picayune and see our Wildwood, Catalina, Sportsman, and Zinger trailer lines and our Rockwood and Heritage Glen fifth wheel lines. From Houma to Hammond, Biloxi to Jackson, and Mobile and Pensacola, we're not that far from where you are. Come and see us.
You're gonna love the way we deal. Pawpaw's Camper City and Picayune. You're gonna love the way we deal.
Let's bring in our first guest of the night, and that is the head baseball coach for the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Coach Jay Johnson joins us. Coach Johnson, Jeff Palermo, along with Tiger Rag editor Todd Horne. How you doing tonight?
Doing great. Great to be on with you guys. How you doing?
All doing well. Fall ball is moving right along. You know, at this time last year, you had a really good feeling about your team and how special it could be. And I'm not asking you to make any predictions right now, but you know what's just kind of your overall feeling of this team after watching them on the diamond for the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, we're off to a good start. The fall for me is obviously about installing our system, our process of winning, and we kind of take that step by step. I think it's a different group. Obviously, it's been very good from a pitching standpoint, which we're excited about. We built the team that way. We're very intentional about that we had to add pitching once we got here to Baton Rouge. That obviously paid off last year, and having depth to sustain, some injuries and those types of things, kept us in a good position to win a national championship. We really like what we see from that group. On the position player side of things, we're not fully healthy, with Tommy White missing the entire fall due to a shoulder procedure he had shortly after the College World Series last year. He's the best hitter in college baseball, so we'll be excited to have him back in the mix once we turn the corner on the new year. Brady Neal, same thing, missed a bunch of time, but took at bats for the first time on Sunday night, so that's a good step in the right direction. And a lot of teaching, going on, as we build this thing, but off to a pretty good start all in all.
Jay, first of all, congratulations on your reward, your pay raise this past week. You're now one of the most highly compensated coaches in all of college baseball, and congratulations to you on that. It's well deserved.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So what are your goals for the fall? I mean, specific goals. I think last year you mentioned that the team is totally different this year than last year, and we can get into that as we talk about this a little bit. But what are your specific goals this fall, as say opposed to last fall?
Yeah, I think I try to keep it pretty similar, in terms of what I look at in the fall. Like, I learned something a long time ago about myself is, I'm so passionate about coaching and developing a team and developing a program that sometimes I'll want to go really fast, and get everything in and, be ready to play a game like the second you start fall practice, and that's not realistic. And so what I've kind of learned over the time is like, hey, let's cut it in half, so to speak, and master the half that we're going after. So a few things would be just our basic process of winning, offensively, defensively on the bases. Just for example, in base running, like what do we want to be really, really good at? I want to get out of the fall with two things. I want to be really good at advancing on balls in the dirt, from the pitcher to the catcher, and be very good at no catch reads and advancing two bases at a time. From the hitting standpoint, we want to start working on our ability to separate balls and strikes and have great plate discipline. As we get more bats underneath us, doing damage or hitting mistakes. We haven't even got to our 2-strike hitting yet. That's another piece to be a really good 2-strike hitting team. And then being really good in what I call our red zone offense or situational hitting, which we were very good last year, been very good for 2 years at. So instead of worrying about everything, just take a few things in each phase of the game and get really, really good at those things. And like I said, a lot of new faces, so a little slower with the teaching progression to make sure we get a good foundation. And if I was to use a word, it'd be to establish a really good foundation.
So how exactly does one go about replacing the best pitcher possibly ever in college baseball, another number 1 draft pick as a pitcher, and then probably the best player ever in college baseball in Dylan Cruz?
Well, it's a really good question. I think on the pitching side, just starting with Paul, I mean, that was a special season. And I knew we were getting an ace, a Friday night starter, number 1. I would be very, probably less than honest if I said I thought we were going to see that season of dominance that we saw out of Paul. And I think there was a few reasons for that. I'm really proud of him for executing. I do feel very good about our pitching, though. I think we have multiple pitchers that will be drafted in the first round or in the top 50 picks in the draft, 2, potentially 3. I think we have great depth left and right, those types of things. So I feel very good where we're at on the mound, and maybe even in some regard a little bit better than at this point, last year. And that was very intentional. I think if you can pitch, the game starts and ends on the mound, then you give yourself a chance to compete in pretty much every game on your schedule. And I think we are well positioned to do that. On the position player side, you mentioned Dylan. I don't know that we'll ever see that in college baseball again. I mean, there was literally about 10 minutes of bad and 3 years of good. So he's pretty special. But, I'll go back to the old Moneyball theory. You don't replace, in that movie, Jason Giambi when he left the Oakland A's, or Dylan Cruz when he moved on to professional baseball with one guy. You do it with the improvements of everybody. Hayden Travinski, really came alive for us last year and made a positive contribution. Josh Pearson, in his 3rd year, he can take a step forward. And I really am intrigued by the group of freshman position players we had last year with, Brady Neal, Paxton Kling, Jared Jones, Ethan Fry. If you get all those guys, to make a positive step forward, you start chipping away at some of that production. But the last thing I'm going to do is ask anybody to be Dylan Cruz, because in my opinion, there's only one Dylan Cruz.
Well, Jay, I've got one more quick question for you, and Jeff's kind of bursting at the seams to ask you one, so I'll have to hand it over to him for a second. But you're uniquely positioned to answer this question, so I'm going to go ahead and put you on the spot. Dylan Cruz or Chris Bryant?
Yeah, not going to answer that question. I would not be the coach at LSU, or would have even been the coach at Nevada or Arizona without Chris Bryant. And I would not be a national champion without Dylan Cruz. And Chris has had an all-star career, been an MVP. And I believe Dylan is capable of doing all of those things and maybe more. And very grateful for both of them. And, think about that often. Like, there's not too many coaches that have had the pleasure or the fortune of coaching two hitters of that caliber. And I'm proud of both of them, because they both got better throughout their entire college career and helped our programs be really successful.
Talking with LSU baseball coach Jay Johnson, and Coach Johnson, you talked about you feel like you got enough pitching, but how does it look defensively up the middle, having to try to replace Gavin Dugas and Jordan Thompson, and then obviously out in center field? I know we were just kind of talking about Dylan Cruz in center field, but just kind of when you look at it defensively, how does it look at this moment here in late October?
Yeah, I think there's been some real positives. We brought in Michael Braswell from South Carolina at shortstop, and he's done a great job. We completely revamped his swing and approach, and I think we're going to see a very good offensive player for us. Defensively, he's made every routine play. Not even sure if he has an error yet in the fall. He's very sure-handed, has a great throwing arm. 2 years of SEC experience playing in the middle of the infield is a real bonus. So you feel good about him, right now. Second base, kind of a wide open deal. We've actually toyed with, moving Paxton Kling there. He played a couple innings there last year during the season. Nobody ever noticed because it was in like those 10-run games where we were getting the 10-run rule after 7 innings. But he's a good athlete, was a high school shortstop. Stephen Milam is a freshman that has ability on both sides of the ball that we like a lot. Ryan Kucherak is another player that we like at both spots at shortstop and second base. It's kind of wide open right now. Austin Rolig can do some things. Ben DePolt, guy that we brought in last year. If we were to start today, it'd be hard not to play him just from, what you're going to get. And the fact that we are going to pitch, the fact that he's a sure-handed defender and knows how we play offense, you may see, Ben getting some good opportunities in there. So it's wide open, right now, relative to the second base thing. I'm comfortable that we have a little bit of depth, and I'm comfortable that in 3 months' time, whenever we tee this thing off, we'll be in a good spot there.
Where does that leave Gavin Guidry at the moment?
Well, he's going to close, and we're still working on the balance of, you kind of tricked me on that one right now because today he was only a pitcher. He was only a pitcher today, and the rest of those guys took 5,000 ground balls today. But because he was throwing his first bullpen, we kind of left it to hey, you're just a pitcher today. I think Gavin, I like him a little bit at third base. Obviously we have Tommy. But I feel like that's maybe the spot that he's most comfortable. The offensive running speed, versatility thing, when you talk about a 27-man SEC roster, is going to provide really good versatility for us, on there. He's working on some things, on some swing. The thing about Gavin is you never count him out because he's such a good competitor and he's a really good athlete, which we obviously saw as we transitioned him to the back end of the games, and he'll be doing that again as well. I mean, he's one of the best closers in the country, and, we're going to rely heavily on him there. And the position player thing right now is still a work in progress.
Is it too early to pencil in Thatcher Hurd as the Friday night starter?
Probably too early, and that's nothing to say about Thatcher because, I got pro baseball people, calling me up believing he's a top 10 or top 15 overall pick in the draft. And when you see, the jump and the stuff, his size, his strength, command of all his pitches, it's not far-fetched for him to be in that conversation or to pitch on Friday here. And, if the season started today, probably, a yes. Really like what we have with Luke Holman, transfer from Alabama, had a very good season last year at Alabama. Really like Gage Jump, kind of a guy nobody's talking about, but they will by the time the season's rolling around. I think he's got a chance to be one of the best pitchers in the country. Griffin Herring made some nice strides. Obviously, that huge outing against Wake Forest. Nate Ackenhausen, from the left side, obviously a great start against Tennessee and Omaha. A lot of candidates. Kate Anderson, freshman, local guy, has really stepped up. And then Cameron Johnson, how we got that guy to college relative to talent, I'll never know. But very excited about that.
Final question for you, Coach. Who do you like tonight in Game 7 of the NLCS?
Going to go with Philly.
Yeah.
Just for my head says Philly just because they're at home and the professionalism of the at-bats and that lineup. My heart is with the Diamondbacks because Kevin Ginkel pitched for me at Arizona and Paul Sewald pitched for me at San Diego. So the 8th and the 9th inning, I'm all D-backs.
Paul Sewald, it's amazing. 94 on the inner half of the plate, and he still gets it back past these guys. It's pretty impressive watching him pitch.
Yeah, he's a stud. Really happy for him. Long journey to get there, and he's certainly made the most of it.
Coach, thanks a lot. We appreciate your time tonight.
All right, have a great night.
Welcome back. This is Camryn, and I hope you guys enjoyed hearing Coach Johnson's thoughts on this season. Here's more with Jeff and Todd with the LSU men's basketball head coach, Matt McMahon, on how the Tigers basketball season is looking.
LSU men's basketball coach Matt McMahon joins us here on Tiger Rag Radio. Coach McMahon, Jeff Palermo, along with Tiger Rag editor Todd Horne. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Jeff, Todd, great to be with you tonight. I appreciate you having me. We just got off the practice floor, so great timing.
So Todd was saying it's probably a good thing that practice ran a little long today, right? You had to still keep I'm sure the guys were looking good out there, and you wanted to keep the good mojo going, huh?
And for the coach, which I think is important when you have, about half our team is in their 4th or 5th year playing college basketball. And so I think we have some opportunities there from an experience and proven players. Now the key part becomes blending all these new faces into a team. And I think you need great leadership to do that. I think we have a lot of great candidates that are returning players, whether it's here at LSU or in this league, that can step forward and do that.
Coach, whenever you went about rebuilding this roster this year, you did so with, and I was just saying this to Jeff, with a lot of great intentionality. And you were looking for, I'm quoting you, or paraphrasing, you were looking for certain skill sets, but you were also looking for what you just hit on, which is leadership. And one of the key players that you were, I know, very happy to be able to attract back to Baton Rouge was Jordan Wright. And primarily not just because of his scoring ability and his defensive ability, but also because of his leadership. Could you talk a little bit about Jordan Wright?
Yeah, he's been a great blessing. I love Jordan. Was really excited. He chose to play his final season back here where he played his high school basketball, and I know he takes great pride in getting to represent the state of Louisiana this year. So I think for us, you're talking about a guy who scored almost 1,200 points in this league. He's been the SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year. He's been an SEC Player of the Week. He's had some monster games. And so I love his versatility at 6'6", 220. Can play not only on the perimeter, but I think there are going to be some times he can create some mismatch problems in the post. The two areas we really need him to come through for us, and I think he will, is rebounding and then his leadership, as you mentioned, Todd. And I think he's got all the tools to be an elite leader. He's incredibly smart and intelligent. He's commands the respect of his teammates because he's a relentless worker, just lives in the gym, and wants to impact winning. So we're giving him a lot of responsibility, and I think he'll handle it extremely well this year.
Coach, one of the I guess, outlying questions that still remains, I know you're very happy to also get Jalen Cook back. We still haven't heard a word, or at least I haven't. Have you?
Yeah, no, it's a tough deal. Surprised it's kind of dragged on this long, but we're still waiting a resolution there. Jalen, take that aside, unfortunately had a hamstring injury this summer and missed about 2.5 months. So it's been great having him back, getting him going. Obviously, we're very hopeful that he'll be cleared and get to play this year. Without getting into the specifics of some of the confidentiality of his case, I think he has a great case to be able to play right away. But this is kind of an unprecedented time with the NCAA, so I'm not sure how that's going to finish. But we'll remain optimistic and hopeful as we come to the final stages of whatever this process is that they go through.
And I guess you say final stages because it's getting close to the season starting, so you would hope they would pass down a decision before the season starts, but that's not necessarily
I saw some football ones that went on into the season, which was kind of strange, I thought. But that's very true, Todd. Here we are. We're, 6 days away from our exhibition game and 13 days away from opening night. So it's here. And I know we're extremely excited to get started, but would like to get a resolution there and some finality to that situation.
So Jordan Wright's teammate in high school, Carlos Stewart, is also another guard that you brought in from the West Coast, and he's got some unique skills and talents. How's he working out so far?
Yeah, Carlos doing really well, man. He works extremely hard. Another guy who was really refreshing, Todd, when he came on his official visit to LSU, just the way his face lit up with the opportunity to come back here and play. here at the PMAC and represent his family and all his friends right down the street. So he's been terrific. He is a guy with some unique skills in that 6'1", but he has a 6'8.5" wingspan. Extremely athletic. He's built like a tank, and really uses that explosiveness well on the floor. And then I know you and I have talked about it a lot. I mean, the value of three-point shooting in today's game, where some teams, over half their shots come from three. You're talking about a guy who shot at over 40% for his career, and a big believer that shooting will translate.
And so when you talk about shooting, you've also got a 7-footer named Will Baker who transferred in, who's got a good outside shot.
He does. It's a lot of fun coaching these different pieces, and some of them we only have these guys here for essentially about the next 5 months. So we got to maximize these opportunities for them. I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity to coach these guys because we have some really unique and high character people in the program, and Will is certainly one of them. A guy who's really skilled in the post, can score over either shoulder. He's a really good passer. And he's a guy who shoots it, around 39% from behind the arc, which creates some better spacing for our team offensively and some matchup problems. So I think a big challenge for him. We need Will to rebound at a high level with a 7-foot, 250-pound frame. And then just his ability to create, not only for himself, but for others, because he warrants some attention down in the post, and then his ability to stretch the floor and shoot it from three.
Well, Coach, I mean, I know that when we talked about Will earlier, too, you guys did some NBA combine testing, and several of the players, I think including him, kind of shocked you a little bit at the, maybe not shocked, maybe that's too strong or not quite the right word, but surprised you a little bit with their athleticism.
Yeah, some guys tested out really well, and I love Will to death, but he, like me, he's not going to win the vertical jump competition. But what he does, he moves extremely well for a guy his size. And, we track everything these guys do in practice, and his ability to change ends of the floor at his size is really impressive. I think some of the guys from an athleticism standpoint that really tested out high, you're looking at, Damian Collins, Mwani Wilkinson, Tyrell Ward, and one who I had seen very athletic in practice, but was surprised exactly how well he tested out was Hunter Dean, another guy here in his 5th year at 6'10", 245 pounds, extremely athletic, and has been, a pleasant surprise, quite frankly.
Well, Coach, I mean, when you look at this roster and you see the size, the experience that you've talked about, the 2 weeks that you had additional in the Bahamas to get them together, and it seemed to work from talking to the players. They seem to have a lot of team chemistry. It doesn't seem to mathematically compute to finishing 13th in the Southeastern Conference like the media placed you guys at Media Days. I know you don't want to talk about placement in the SEC because that's probably too far-reaching for your goals right now, but I think that this team has a little chip on their shoulder, and they're going to try to surprise some people. But I don't think if I'm an opposing coach, when I look at the roster, it surprises me too much that they're as athletic and have the skills that they do. So what are your general thoughts on that?
Well, I do think we have size and athleticism, not only in the front court, but I talk about Jordan Wright at 6'6", 220 in the back court. What kind of jump does Tyrell Ward take at 6'7", at the two-guard position?
Might have lost Coach McMahon. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're breaking up on us, Coach. You still there?
Sure. I'm on Kent Lowe's phone, so it might be his phone. I would think a legend like Kent Lowe just went to in the PMAC.
Oh, Coach.
Let's do this. Let's Jackson. Let's go ahead and take a break. Maybe we could still bring Coach McMahon on after the break. Coach, thanks a lot for spending a few more minutes with us. We just wanted to make sure we finished off the interview properly. We're talking with LSU men's basketball coach Matt McMahon. Coach McMahon, talk a little bit about your schedule here. You're going to be playing in the Charleston Classic, opening up against Dayton in middle of November. You could be facing Rick Pitino and the St. John's team. You also have Syracuse on the schedule, Texas, Kansas State. How does this prepare you for SEC play?
I love the schedule, and sorry for the practice voice here, but I think when you look, we wanted to get a couple home games in to get the season started, and then you go right into that ESPN Classic in Charleston. I think it's a great field. A lot of our players don't know it, but playing Dayton in the first round will be a fringe top 25 team, and it'll be like a road game. They'll travel several thousand fans there, so it'll be a great opportunity for us. I've never been to the Carrier Dome at Syracuse, one of the historic venues in college basketball, so I think that'll be a good experience. I love the game at home with Kansas State, coming off their Elite Eight appearance. We were excited to get that home and home. It's been a long time since the Power 5 non-conference game took place in the PMAC in November and December. We were excited about that. And then, of course, the Texas doubleheader, I think, is going to be a great event for our fans. It's in the Houston Rockets Arena the following Saturday, the 16th. So you'll go watch LSU in Atlanta on December 2nd in the SEC Championship. Then you'll come back the next Saturday and have Kansas State at the PMAC, and then the following Saturday in Houston against Texas. And then the second game of the doubleheader is Texas A&M and Houston. So should be a great event. Definitely a non-conference schedule that'll give us plenty of opportunities in some of those quad one games and prepare us for league play.
Final question here for you, Coach. And again, thanks for your time. You've given us a lot of it here tonight. What area do you feel like you're I don't know if head and shoulders better than a year ago or way ahead from where you were a season ago in your mind?
Yeah, it's a great question. I try not to look backwards too often, especially after a year like that, and just move forward. But I think any team that has success, you got to have an identity. And the identity for us right now, we've got older, experienced guys. I think we do. You talked about it earlier in the show. We've got size. We have a good mix of athleticism in our front court. There's a lot of areas that can be strengths for our team. And I think, we got to cultivate those here in the coming weeks. But I think just establishing what's the identity of this team going to be, what gives us the best opportunity to win. And I got to point to some of those experienced players, their leadership, and their proven production at this level.
Coach, thanks a lot for your time. We appreciate it. Good luck Monday. And the season be tipping off here very, very soon. We appreciate your time, and good luck, and looking forward to seeing what you guys can do this season.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I hope a lot of people will come out next Monday. It's a free exhibition game. We're going to have trick-or-treating for all the kids. Players are going to stay after the game and do autographs and photos. So I think it's going to be a fun way to tip off the season, and look forward to seeing everybody next Monday. I appreciate you having me on tonight.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
People come from everywhere to Pawpaw's Campers and Cars.
All at Pawpaw's Campers and Cities, somewhere. Pawpaw's Campers and Cars of people. And we're going to let it go for I forgot. Take the whole family over to Picayune. We got something for you. All right. What else we going to say? PawpawsNicePrice.com. That's probably all we need to say.
All right, that's it for episode 27 today. I'm Camryn Conner with Tiger Rag Audibles podcast. I hope you all enjoyed hearing my starting five and listening in on our great interviews. Stay tuned for more updates. We'll be back next week. Have a great rest of y'all's weekend. I would like to thank our sponsors, Pawpaw's Campers and Cars, pawpawsrvs.com, 1-800-728-CAMP, 1-800-728-2267.